What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about your growth as an artist, and more specifically, something kind of controversial in the music business world, and that is the diversification of your art and genres that you're working in. Now, this is something that I, as a working artist, have been dealing with my whole life, and I think it's probably a little harsh to say dealing with, swimming with, living with. I've always known that this is a factor, and the more that you get into the music business, the more you encounter this advice. And it usually goes something like this: you should really niche down to the thing that you do the best and stick only to that genre of music and become really, really good at that. There are really good reasons for why people give this advice, and they usually have to do with business, marketing, booking, promotion, playlist curating, record label submitting. I don't know if that's a thing, but you get my point. It's the people in the music business who are always pushing this message: stick to what you do best in your genre. It has its place. There's something to be said for that. But, and this is a very personal choice that this is a very personal subject that we're talking about right now, because it's you and your art and your music and your lyric writing and your production and your whole process as an artist, for how you're taking your inspiration, working on it, and having an end thing for people to listen to and digest out into the real world. So this, although can seem simple, is very complicated, and we're kind of tampering with that subject by saying stick to the genre that you do best, or the instrument that you do best. Personally, as a working artist, I'm a big believer in experiment with everything. I like making music in a lot of different feelings and energies and dynamics. And if you look through my catalog on Spotify, there's a lot of acoustic stuff, very intimate, personal, one-to-one, very folky, songwriter type genres. And if you ask my biggest fans online what they know me for, it's probably that. But it took me a lot of years to discover that guy. And I experimented probably for 20 years for that guy to surface. And if you listen to my Spotify channel, you're going to hear that acoustic guy with the vocals, who loves Paul Simon and James Taylor and Bob Dylan. But you're also going to hear instrumentals, which are fully fleshed out with string sections and orchestrations, like my early work with a great calm, Dream Fade, Gazebo Girl, Godfather Suite. I was writing straight up instrumental music for a while and really enjoying it as a guitar player. Also, you're going to find my old 5 Cubic Feet tracks, which are full-on band songs. So that's way more about the festival scene. Also, you're going to find the work that I did, which I will call my COVID era work, which is I Go to Work, Late Train Jack, Groove Me Baby, Smile When You Can, Push Harder, another instrumental, which is fully produced band work, which I did in 4 different studios all over the East Coast with probably 10 musicians, a producer, a mixing engineer, mastering engineer, a full team to produce those 6 songs that I did in about a year in 2020. So I like variety. I love music. And when I'm listening to music, like for example, as a playlist curator on Submit Hub, I listen to all kinds of different music, and it reminds me of the Quincy Jones documentary where he was talking about there's good music and there's bad music. And I feel like most people know the difference, and that's what we're looking for, the essence of good music, and that can be in any genre. Are there some genres that I don't write in? Yeah, I'm not a rapper. I'm not a heavy metal drummer. I'm not an EDM producer. Those things are fairly specific, and those guys have a kind of a niche craft. But I guarantee if you ask any famous heavy metal guitar player, does he listen to other kinds of music and would like to write in other kinds of music, he's going to say, hell yeah, I love music. I listen to everything. I'm just not listening to heavy metal. We're going off track. This is about you and your art. Let's get back to the advice, stick to your genre. One of the reasons that they say this is because it's good for short-term results. And if somebody's selling you, or if you're selling yourself, they are after short-term results because it's easier to market something that people know and understand. And if you become the acoustic guy with the intimate voice, that's easier to market because it's a clear vision. So everybody can get on board with that. Now, if you come back a couple years later as the full-on jam band guy who's hitting the festival scene with a horn section, but used to be the acoustic guy, obviously there are challenges to marketing that. But it can have long-term benefits. So a lot of this whole conversation has to do with short-term benefits and long-term benefits. And it's important for us as artists to look at our entire career. Like, I started this when I was 16. I'm 49. That's, little math lesson there, 33 years of artist development. And I'm not done. I'm going to be doing this another 30 years. Let's call it 33 years. I'm at the halfway point in my mind, and I've been doing this all this time. I have 200 songs on Spotify. I'm almost got 1,000 videos on YouTube now. I'm going off path. My point is, in a long career that lasts a lifetime, you're able to write and record in any genre that you want. And this is all about inspiration. If you are inspired, you have to make that. If it happens to me in a genre that's totally out of your league and skill level as a musician, got to dive in. Got to learn the skills, got to learn what you like in that genre, bring it into the genres that you have been working in. So in my case, maybe it's folk music. And adapt and add some seasoning to all these different sounds. Because what happens is the more you learn about music and the more you blend your genres or step out of your genres, the more interesting your music is going to sound in the long run. So me as an artist, when I think of my favorite artists, I like jam bands. So Fish, Trey Anastasio, writes music in every genre you can imagine almost, like jazz, folk, classic rock, jam rock, southern rock, prog rock, orchestral rock. Let's go to Paul Simon. Good heavens. I mean, talk about range, going from like Simon and Garfunkel, super folky duo with harmonies, all the way to Graceland, into the full African groove bands that he had. I mean, these guys are inspired to make music, and they go to extreme lengths. I'm talking extreme lengths to discover what is in those genres that they can bring into their life as an artist. Now, do you have millions of dollars to access Africa and hire studios and do the world traveling that Paul Simon has done. Neither do I. But you and I are super resourceful, and we can go out into this world, find producers, musicians out of our genre that maybe we are curious about, approach those people individually, hire them, travel to go see them at very low costs, almost free. If you're doing it through the computer, like by reaching out to people doing DMs, and we can form these relationships with artists outside of our genre and create some pretty cool stuff, like amazing stuff. And that's where musical ground is broken, by going outside of genres and bringing them together in new and interesting ways. Not by listening to the marketing guy or the booking guy who says, stick to your genre. I want an album that sounds just like your last one. This kind of points to the sophomore slump that is so popular in the record business, or had been for years, where a band would go into the studio with a famous producer. They would get an incredible new sound that was groundbreaking. They'd spend a lot of money on it. The record label would get it. They'd spend a lot of money marketing it, getting out this brand new image of who a band is. They'd get super popular, sell 10 million albums, and then they'd have to do it again within a year. How do you do that? Well, you've got the equation. We just did it. Let's just do the same thing. It doesn't work that way. Like, people are smart. They want quality. And when you just go into the studio doing the same thing again for your second album, the sophomore slump comes along, because they're like, hey, this isn't as good as the last one. Am I saying you shouldn't stick to your talents? Revisit your talents, I would say. Like, know what you're good at and come back to it over and over again. So one thing that I've really done as an artist is find that guy that I was really good at, that my voice delivered, my singing voice, and my hands on the guitar, and find who that is. Hone in on it, especially in the middle of an album. Hone in on it. Release it to the world. Experiment like mad for 2 years. like everything possible. Become everything that guy is not. Learn like all the things that I've been curious about when it comes to writing, chord progressions, colors, production. Like, make big mistakes, as many as you can, and then slowly get back to the guy that everybody knows and can relate to. Because after you've gone through that experimentation process, you're adding flavor to that, the essence of who you are as an artist. Again, this is a very personal, subjective thing. And it depends on what you want to do or what you feel inside as an artist. Can you be the instrumentalist piano player always and forever and do nothing else? Totally, of course you can do that. But even within those contexts, you're going to want a wide range of tempos, key signatures, moods, feelings. Like, even if you work specifically within a certain genre, you're going to want to experiment within that genre so that all your stuff doesn't sound the same. Because people want an emotional ride. They want like a musical story over time. They don't want like the same song just cranked out over and over again, because you've already written that song. So yeah, I'm a big believer in diversifying your genres. If somebody is telling you that, give them some grace and see where they're coming from. They probably want to sell you something. Or it's a fan who loves your previous work and they're like, man, I just want more of that. And I would just be all like, well, listen to that again. Or stay tuned. Trust and have faith in me that my heart is in the right place. I'm making work that I believe in, and I hope that it resonates with you too. And if it doesn't, please stick with me to the next album or the next album or next single or video or whatever content you're making. People want to be curious. What's this guy going to do next? That's a real big factor. This has been kind of a long video. Please subscribe if you haven't yet so far. I got lots of more videos here on YouTube, so check them out. Bye.